let's see what we can do for you to take it to the other side of the harbor. So from this side you could see that one over there, which is La Cabaña, San Carlos de la Cabaña, coming from the 1700s, while those two right at the entrance are from the 1500s at that one there.
Wow.
The thing is that Havana was invaded, was sacked, was burned several times by enemies of Spain, but also corsairs and pirates, and it was needed to fortify, to protect the city from those invasions and attacks. So that is the reason why the Spanish kingdom ordered to fortify cities like Havana was. So at first, but that was not enough. So it was needed a second one. So we're going to see both of them. Right here, we have a monument to your right-hand side, which is devoted to one of our key fighters of the War of Independence, Maximo Oves. He was not Cuban, he was from the Dominican Republic, but he participated in that war. Revolution Museum, the one with the dome, and this building here, a Spanish embassy. So, it's an equestrian monument facing the sea. He was a foreigner. That is why when you see equestrian monuments facing the ocean, means that is a foreigner who was in that country for any reason, or if it was from that country, died abroad. When it's back of the ocean, or and died on that homeland. So we're going to see that complex of forts. We're going to have a stop there for you to see the areas all around. And since none of you brought the swimming suit, I just talked with the guy who opens and closes the ramparts of this tunnel. He opened it, so that is why we're going to cross the harbor through this tunnel, which is from 1958. It was built by a French company, and it is considered one of the greatest engineering works of the late 50s. And believe me what I'm telling you, because just a few days ago, the other passengers that came on the same boat had to run the harbor to go to the place you are coming now, because as consequences of the hurricane we had days ago, this tunnel was full of water, and it took time to empty the tunnel from all that water, and after that to fix, one of the, well, most of the time is dark because it's a tunnel, but not as dark as today because they are still fixing part of the electricity system, because of course after all that amount of water, it was affected in a great sense. So before 1958, the inhabitants from that side of the city, or the ones of this side, to go to downtown, to that part of the city where you are, they had to run the harbor, and that was something taking probably 30 minutes. So it was a lot. So days ago, when the boat was here last week, we had to do that because it was not open yet. So this is the Atlantic. That is the Atlantic Ocean. In Cuba, when you see the north coast, is the Atlantic, like this one here, and the south is the Caribbean Sea. But you won't be able to see it because you will have to go to provinces in the city like Cienfuegos, Santiago de Cuba, or Trinidad in Santi Espíritus. This used to be a paid toll, which is not in use anymore. So that's from before 1958. And from the other side, you saw all that on the hill, all that complex of ports. Today, they have like a military component. It always had, because the engineers in charge were Italian engineers, military engineers, because the role, the key of the construction of those was for protecting the city from invasions, from military invasions as well. The pirates and corsairs, but also that's the reason why the second one, because the British Army invaded Havana on 1762. So after a treaty, Versailles, by means of which Havana was given back to Spain and Louisiana to Florida in exchange to England, Charles III, the King of Spain at that time, ordered to build a more powerful fort system. It is said, don't trust on me, it is said that is the largest in Latin America, this fort system. So we're gonna start first by one of the places that has a great view. So you're going to have different perspective of the view from to the view of the harbor. We're gonna start by the one of El Cristo de La Habana. I don't know. This is you get here. You had noticed on the hill like a statue, a tall statue. That is the one of Christ of Havana. That is from 1958. It was made of Italian marble by a Cuban artist. Okay. So the purpose or idea on 1958, when still Batista was the president of Cuba, pre-revolutionary time, was to connect downtown with this tunnel, and this tunnel, once on this side, connecting all this area with casinos, hotels, to Varadero. Varadero is one of the nicest resorts in Cuba. It's about 140 kilometers from Havana, northeast. So imagine 140 kilometers with hotels, casinos. It is said that gambling in Havana in the late 50s was much more than in Las Vegas. And all this area that you have here with those multi-family apartments building, that was the project that replaced the idea of the hotels and casinos. So instead of those, the idea was, coming on the 60s with the revolutionary government in power for providing housing for the population, building those lots of those apartments. Pastorita Núñez was the architect in charge. Yeah, so this neighborhood here, that is a hospital. It's mostly for people of the Navy, not exclusively, because there's no medical institutions here, exclusive or private. So, but it's mostly because the equipment and technology for their checkups every semester are in that hospital. But any other person may get medical attention here. So, all this area is an area. Look at here, one of the views. You see, it's great because from the boat you have a view. But this is higher, and of course you could see much better. So refinery, power plant, warehouses, the shipyard where they are fixed and made, the cruise ship terminal, you are gonna see much better now. So on some of those buildings that you see down there are also there is a school for those people who are gonna be trained military as well. There are some military units as well. This neighborhood here, the name is Casablanca. Casablanca. And also you would see a place here that from the boat you could see a building with a big white ball on top. That's the Weather Forecast Institute. When last year your President Obama came, there is a Cuban comedian who asked if he wanted to have presidential humor, and he accepted. And they were, this comedian was trying to go to Casablanca, but Casablanca here, this place where the weather forecast to know about the weather. And when the phone is ringing, and when someone pick up the phone and say, it's Casablanca, he said, yes, Casablanca. They said, but Casablanca in Cuba. No, Casablanca, but Casablanca, yours in America. So it was so funny because he was calling here to this place here to know about the weather forecast. And also we have the Weather Forecast Institute and the Civil Defense. Those two are the ones that work in tight connection when we have some kinds of meteorological disasters like the one we had a few days ago. So that is quite important because the Civil Defense Institute. So the civil defense is the one that give orientations and instructions to the population in order I mean, for the ones that have to be evacuated, taking into account the itinerary of the hurricane, so they have to be evacuated to higher places because of the floods, or maybe because of they live in places very shallow and the rain. So these are houses of people who live here on this neighborhood as well. And this is one of the first places where we're going to do our stop. So at El Cristo de La Habana, as I said before, 1958, Hilma Madeira. It was made of Italian marble. This is the one, you can see the radar. So this is the one of the Weather Forecast Institute. Listen, we cannot stop, we have to stop here. So you would be able to go closer by the, where the statue will indicate. So it's 9:32. Let's be here 15 minutes, 1-5, for you to have time enough to go there, to have pictures of the city from this side, but also getting closer to the statue of Christ. Okay.